The parable from the Gospel of Matthew that we will talk about today is a story of heaven that compares the 10 friends of a bride who are celebrating her wedding. Wedding ceremonies in Israel began with a banquet held in the evening at the groom's house. At this time, the groom went to the bride's house to bring her. In those days, people getting married usually lived in nearby neighborhoods, so the groom would have been able to get to the bride's house right away. But for some reason, the groom didn't come that day. The bride's 10 friends dozed off while waiting for the groom. It was late at night when they suddenly heard that the groom had arrived. The bride's 10 friends stood up and prepared lamps to welcome the groom. At that time, there was no electricity like there is now, so turning on a light on a dark road was very important. But there was a problem. Out of 10, 5 friends' lights turned on, but the other 5 friends' lights did not turn on. There were lamps, but the oil had run out. The 5 friends who couldn't turn on the light spoke, "Can you give us some oil?" Then the 5 friends who turned on the light responded, "We can't do that. If we share it with you, all the lights might go out due to lack of oil." The Bible says that the 5 friends who prepared the oil were wise. This was because they prepared the oil in advance, thinking that the groom might be late. On the other hand, the 5 friends who did not prepare oil were foolish. On the day of a very important banquet, they didn't prepare for the most important thing they had to do. The bride's wise friends lit lamps and went to greet the groom. Only then did the foolish bride's friends go to buy oil. Meanwhile, the groom returned with his bride, and the door to the wedding banquet house was closed. The bride's friends, who belatedly bought oil and lit a lamp, went to the groom's house and asked to open the door. But the host of the feast did not open the door, but said, "I don't know you." It must be really unfair for these 5 friends to be called foolish, right? They also attended the wedding, prepared lamps, and waited all night for the groom. But without the most important oil, everything they had prepared and waited for went to waste. It is meaningless to lit a lamp after the groom enters and the door is closed. Everyone, as Jesus tells this story, he tells us to be alert, which means to be prepared and alert. Just as we cannot know when the bridegroom will come, no one knows when Jesus will come to us. We must also prepare oil in advance and wait for Jesus. What kind of oil should we prepare? I would like you to think about it carefully. I hope that the lives of our friends who listen to the word will be filled with preparing oil in advance every day.